Elizabeth is in her mid-40s and teaches at a junior high school. Because of what she does for a living, you might think she is responsible and kind, but that is not the case. Elizabeth is actually a careless and rude person who yells at the students and makes them watch films in class. She is usually drunk or high on drugs. Elizabeth's only goal in life is to get married to a rich guy and steal all of his money. In short, she looks for money. Elizabeth is currently dating the son of a very rich businessman, and things look good for her. So, one day, she quits her job at school with pride because she no longer needs it. But when she gets home, her boyfriend and his mother are there waiting for him. In an unexpected turn of events, the guy tells her that he no longer wants to marry her. He has finally understood that Elizabeth cares about nothing but his money. She has been stealing money from his pocket, his office, and even his mom's room for months to buy herself expensive things. Elizabeth tries to tell him that's not true, but he doesn't listen and storms off. Elizabeth is in a tough spot because of this. Not only did she lose hope of getting rich, but she also lost her job. Elizabeth looks for work for a few months, but no one hires her because she isn't very skilled. At last, she gets over her pride and goes back to work at the junior high school where she used to work. On her first day, she runs into Amy Squirrel, a person she used to hate, and the two of them insult each other. It's clear that they both hate each other very much. After that, Elizabeth goes to her class, where her students are happy to see her again. She didn't care, though. She doesn't even teach them. Instead, she starts eating breakfast there. When the students start asking for a new lesson, she turns on the TV and makes them watch Stand and Deliver, telling them that it will help them do better on their tests. Then she puts her jacket over her face and goes to sleep in class. During lunch, Elizabeth and Lynn, her only friend at school and also a teacher, get back together. As they talk about their lives, Elizabeth tells her friend that she wants to have breast augmentation surgery to make herself more beautiful and attract rich guys. At the same time, Russell, the school's gym teacher, is introduced to us. He has had a big crush on Elizabeth since the beginning, but she never talks to him. This is because he doesn't have the one thing she wants in a man: money. One day, a handsome guy named Scott starts working as a replacement teacher at the school. When Elizabeth finds out that Scott is rich, she starts following him around. When the time is right, she runs into him and says hello. Then she tricks him into telling her that he is single. Scott talks about how he broke up with his love recently and even shows a picture of her. When Elizabeth sees it, it makes her envious because the girl has a big chest. She also thinks that Scott only likes those kinds of women, so she sets out to get breast augmentation surgery. In the next scene, Elizabeth goes to a center to fill out the surgery paperwork. But when she finds out that the surgery will cost her a huge $9,000, she stops right away. Elizabeth doesn't have even $50 in her bank account, so for now she will have to wait. That night, she calls all of her friends and acquaintances, trying to get money for the surgery from them. But since they all know who she really is, they just hang up on her. Elizabeth goes back to her ex-boyfriend and tells him that she wants him to pay her $9,000 for breaking up with her. But even he says no and hangs up, which is very frustrating for her. The next morning, Elizabeth is killing time in class as usual when one of her classmates comes up to her and asks if she would like her car washed. She goes on to say that everyone in the class will take part in the yearly car wash, which will be a lot of fun. Elizabeth doesn't even pay attention to what she says, but when the student says they made $6,000 last year, she is shocked. Elizabeth then asks which teacher is taking them to the event. She is shocked to find out that her rival, Amy, is in charge. Elizabeth doesn't want to miss out on such a great chance, so she goes to the principal's office and starts trying to charm him with her looks. When he starts to get excited, she asks him to put her in charge of the car wash instead of Amy. He agrees right away, which makes her very happy. The next morning, Elizabeth wears the most showy dress she can find to the party. She then starts washing the cars while also splashing a lot of water on herself. All the women around are surprised, but the men are glad to see what they see. Even a police officer is so taken with her beauty that he drives into another car. Elizabeth then asks the guys for more money, saying that her kid's school is in desperate need of more money. Surprisingly, the plan works, and by the end of the day, she has made around $100,000. Elizabeth gives the school half of the money and saves the other half for herself. In the meantime, Amy hears about this and goes to the director in a rage. The second person is using the toilet, so it makes sense that he would be angry at the quick invasion of his privacy. Amy says Elizabeth is stealing money from the school and wants Elizabeth to be punished. But the director says he can't do anything until he has solid proof that she did it. The next day at school is the annual meeting between parents and teachers. As expected, there are a lot of angry parents in Elizabeth's class. They are all upset about how their kids are being taught. They talk to Elizabeth and ask her why she never gives lessons and always shows films in the classroom. She simply tells him, "Don't tell me how to do my work." After a while, when the meeting is over, a worried father walks up to Elizabeth and gives her $200 in secret. He asks her to pay more attention to his son. This gives our clever main character yet another plan. She meets with each parent one at a time and takes money from them, telling them that she will pay special attention to their children. Now, Elizabeth needs only $2,000 more to pay for the surgery to make her breasts bigger. She keeps being careless and totally ignoring her kids as time goes on. Elizabeth also turns down the gym teacher's approaches, but she does end up becoming friends with him. On the other hand, Amy has also started to pursue Scott, who is rich and beautiful. They've grown close to each other and are always together, which makes Elizabeth very jealous. One day, her best friend Lynn tells her that the teachers are going to have a competition at school. Whoever gets their kids to do the best on the upcoming state test will win $5,000 in cash. When Elizabeth hears this, she is so happy that she finally decides to start teaching her students. So, starting the next day, she gets to school early and makes everyone open their books, which surprises them. Elizabeth also makes sure they have projects and tasks to do each day. Even in class, she won't let them talk to each other. This goes on for a few days, and the kids get much better, but it isn't enough for them to pass the state test, which is coming up in a few days. Elizabeth wants to win the $5,000 prize money so badly that she chooses to take things into her own hands. That night, she dresses in a seductive way and goes up to Carl, a state professor who is in charge of making test questions and giving them out. The plan works, and the man gets excited and takes her to his place right away. When he goes to his room to get ready, Elizabeth puts sleeping pills in his drink. When Carl drinks it, he falls asleep. Elizabeth takes advantage of the situation and takes the questions from him to give to her kids. The test results come out the following week. All of her kids pass with great grades, making her the winner. Elizabeth wins the $5,000 cash prize, which gives her the money she needs to finally get the surgery. So, she doesn't waste any time and goes to the office right away to set up an appointment. But the next day, she is sad when she finds out that Scott is now dating Amy. They look like they love each other a lot. Elizabeth is angry that her enemy has once again ruined her plans, but she still doesn't want to give up. The school will take all of the kids on a tour the following week, and Scott and Amy will be in charge. Elizabeth comes up with a clever plan when she finds out about this. She puts some drugs into an apple and leaves it on Amy's desk, knowing that she loves apples a lot. As usual, Amy doesn't even ask where the apple came from before she bites into it. By the end of the day, she has spots and allergies all over her face. The director sends Elizabeth instead of her on the tour because he is afraid that she will spread the illness to the other students. In the next scene, Elizabeth makes the most of the chance she has and gets close to Scott. They even slept together in secret that night. In another place, Amy starts looking for signs that Elizabeth should be kicked out of school. She goes to class and tries to look through her desk, but most of the drawers are locked. So, Amy switches her desk with Elizabeth's and then has a caretaker break open the boxes. She is thrilled to find the test papers that Elizabeth took from Carl. After that, Amy goes to the principal's office and tells him everything about how Elizabeth stole to help her kids get good grades. This time, the director believes her, but he also tells her that he can't fire her unless Carl comes clean. So, the next day, Amy goes to Carl's office and threatens to tell everyone if he doesn't tell her everything. She tells him that if he doesn't, she will tell everyone about all the bad things he has done. The poor guy finally gives in. Elsewhere on the trip, Elizabeth and the kids are having a great time. She even gives one of the boys who is being picked on her pants, which makes him more famous. Russell is very pleased by this when he sees it. He tells Elizabeth how kind she is, and she tells him how honest and good-looking he is. Amy comes over and makes fun of Elizabeth by saying that she is going to be jailed soon. This rudely ends their love talk. When our main character hears this, she knows that the stolen test papers have been found and comes up with her own plan. When she gets home, she pays her flatmate and gives him a package to bring to Earl. When the second guy gets the package and opens it, he finds a bunch of naked pictures of himself that Elizabeth took while he was out. Now, she wants him to say something that isn't true, and in exchange, she will keep his pictures hidden. Carl is in a tough spot because both women are trying to force him to do what they want. But after giving it a lot of thought, he decides to help Elizabeth and tells a lie that he has never met her. Then Elizabeth says that someone at the school has been using drugs in class. Here, it's clear that she already knows that Amy changed seats while she was gone. The test papers are in the drawer at the bottom, and the drugs are in the drawer at the top. Amy doesn't know what's in this box because it's still closed. Because of what Elizabeth said,